So our next talk is going to be given to us by Strange Talk Radio. Strange Talk Radio is your home for all things strange, weird, and paranormal. They frequently discuss these topics alongside a wide variety of rotating guests. I see that you can see what the topic is today. Man, this is super exciting. So without further ado, I'm going to hand it over.
Thank you so much. So, just so you know about us, to get you good. Oh, we good? Can you hear me? There we go. All right, sure to give you a little introduction here, but good morning and welcome to the hour dedicated to talk about all things strange, weird, and paranormal. You listen to Strange Talk live at Frogman Fest to talk about how to survive a cryptid encounter. Just so you know a little bit about us, we have been on Radio Artifacts since 2017. We've existed way longer than that. We started out doing like a weird radio, just streaming online in like 2010, and so we've been around for a little while. But if you want to tune in your local, it is 91.7 FM HD2WVXU in Cincinnati. That's Thursdays 9 to 10 p.m. If you miss it, no big deal. It goes up to all the podcasting stuff afterwards, just so you know who we are, why we're here, what we're doing. So we also do call-in episodes. So if you have a weird encounter that you want to talk about, you can either email us so we can get you on the show, or we do call-ins, like I said. When it's live, you can just call in and do it then. If not, you can leave in a voicemail at that number, 513-951-5332. If you've got any weird stories that you want to tell us, we would love to hear that. But we're here to talk about how to survive a cryptid encounter. So this is sort of a 101 level overview. If you have been cryptid hunting before, you're probably like know all this stuff, but it's always good to have a refresher because we want everyone to come back safe and sound and able to tell their stories. So these are tips and strategies for staying safe. Again, we want you to come back, we want you to tell your tale. So quick agenda of this, we're gonna go through our slides on how to survive. There will be a choose your own adventure section, which we will do by show of hands, and then we'll do a little Q&A at the end. So, understanding cryptids. You all can read this, but cryptids are a creature of legend, mystery, and folklore beings that exist in the space between myth and reality. The term comes from cryptozoology, the study of hidden or unknown animals, and refers to creatures that have been reported or rumored to exist but lack definitive scientific proof. If you're here, you probably already know vaguely what cryptids are. We're in Loveland, which is my hometown. I spent a lot of my youth running around looking for the frog. Thank you. How many people here are local? Yay! Oh my gosh, so many people. I'm glad to hear that. I spent a lot of time running around in the woods looking for the frog. Unfortunately, I have not seen the frog, but I'm still looking. And as far as like cryptids to start out looking for, frog is like up there because it's not super aggressive. If you see it, it'll probably get spooked and run. So I always recommend this as like either frog or squonk is like kind of my top tier that I'm like, those two are probably not gonna hurt you. So highly recommend that. But there are others like chupacabra that are like more dangerous, goatman, or mothman, who is just sort of a disaster, obviously. But yeah, cryptids. Part of that is just understanding that they are animals. So we're gonna talk about a couple of quick cryptids. We're not gonna spend super long on this because there are literally thousands and we would be here all day if we tried to do that. Fresno night crawlers, as you see I've written here, I hate it when my pants become sentient and walk away. They are one of my favorites. They've gotten a lot of popularity lately because they basically do just look like walking pants. This photo here is from the original footage filmed by Jose in 2007 in Fresno, California. They're just fun little guys. They're just going for a walk. If you stop by Moonlight Studios, they've got one with like little boots on. Braxy is my personal favorite. She is tall, radioactive, floats. Some people think she might be a lizard-like being. This is a sketch artist depiction from one of the eyewitness accounts. So, eyewitness testimony there. If you are looking for Braxy, make sure you have good health insurance. Because she tends to be radioactive, and a lot of people who have seen her have developed cancer later. So, not one I super recommend for people. Make sure you have good health insurance. And then, of course, the Loveland frog. This art is from a Luring podcast. Kimmy graciously let us use it. He's beautiful, he's majestic. And as many of you all have seen, he's been seen with a wand with sparks. He may or may not have a family. There's been different accounts, so just some fun, quick little ones. But we're here to talk about how to survive a cryptid encounter. So First step to surviving a cryptid encounter is being prepared. The more prepared you are going in, the more likely you are to have a good outcome. You want to be researching the area you are visiting beforehand, because most deaths, unfortunately, when having a cryptid encounter are more often from the terrain, the weather, things that people didn't prepare for because they were thinking about the cryptid they may or may not see. There's a very, very unfortunate story of December this past year in Oregon. 2 squatchers went out and were reported missing on Christmas Day. They were not prepared for it to be that cold, and they unfortunately passed away going out squatching. That is never an outcome we want for anybody. We want people to come back safe, happy, able to tell their tales. So you want to know where you're going. You want to know the area. If it's got cliffs, be prepared for that. Make sure you have proper light. You always want to pack kind of extra essentials. I have here flashlight, first aid kit, food, water. You always want to pack more than you need. You might lose stuff along the way. Some cryptids interfere with like technology, so you want to have analog backups. Maps, compass, great. You can lose a map or a compass, but it will never go faulty on you, unless something's gone really wrong. And then of course you do want to learn about local cryptids, sightings and behavior, because you want to know what you're looking for. And also, if you're looking for a specific cryptid, you need to know what it likes, what it's weak against. If you're going out squatching, you might want to learn how to do squatch calls. If you're going to go out and look for the Fresno nightcrawler, honestly, people just kind of encountered it. But squonk, if a squonk does get aggressive, if you just make him cry, he usually dissolves into a puddle and he's gone. Then you don't have to worry about it. Scooby-Doo will tell you to split up and split the party. Do not do that. Stay together. If any of you have played D&D, you know you never split the party. It is a bad idea. Do not do it. You always want to have, buddy system when you're hiking. You always want to make sure you have a buddy. If you go missing, you need somebody else there who can help you get help or call for help. And this one is kind of one that I don't think people think about as much. You want to understand your own personal fight, flight, or freeze response. You want to know how you act under pressure, because when you're in a stressful situation, you've got split seconds to make decisions. The more you understand how you react to things, the more you're going to be able to kind of train yourself to have a different reaction if you need to. So if your first reaction is to fight, it's not going to go well with a lot of cryptids. So you're going to want to train yourself out of that. You don't want to try to fight the goat man. He has an axe. It will not go well. It's not a good idea. Please don't do that. So the more you prepare beforehand, the better it will go when you're actually out there in the field looking. Because it also means then you practice your squatch calls. You know it works. So once you're prepared and you're out there and you actually encounter a cryptid, you obviously want to stay calm. You do not want to panic. It can freak it out, make it run away, or it can freak it out and make it get aggressive. You don't want to do that. You don't want to make sudden movements. If you're kind of already hidden, you kind of want to stay hidden. You don't want to approach it. It's kind of like when you see actual wildlife, you don't want to approach it because it might get freaked out or aggressive. Just stay where you are, and if it is safe, that is when you want to document. If you are not safe, please do not document it. Make sure you are safe first and foremost, because if you die, then people will not be able to get your nice evidence that you just risked your life to get. That is why that is always secondary. Safety first, documentation secondary. Some of these cryptids, you want to avoid eye contact because they will take that as a sign of aggression. Again, a lot of these are animals of some form. So, don't make eye contact if you can avoid it. Again, with Braxy, you may end up irradiated, so you do not want to make eye contact. When you are actually there, again, fear and adrenaline are very, very powerful, and that's why you want to prepare beforehand. You don't want to panic, you don't want to freak out, you don't want to run away. Or sometimes you do want to run away, because sometimes it's the safest thing to do. So hopefully you have by now gotten your documentation, everything is great, you are safe. At this point, you now want to escape. This is why you want to know your terrain, know your escape routes. If there are cliffs, you don't want to go running off a cliff. Will-o-wisps could be a big thing. If you see lights in the woods, do not run towards that. It could be other people, or it could, be things trying to lure you off a cliff. If it is a more animalistic thing, like Bigfoots, you're usually pretty good. You can kind of use distraction, throw rocks. If you've got your flashlight, if you've got a backup, you can throw that, whatever you need to do, bright lights, anything to distract it. Then you want to move to a safe location, if you can get to one. Hopefully you drove there, you can get in your car, you're nice and safe in there, or a building of some kind. And contact the authorities if necessary. Sometimes that can make situations worse. So the authorities does not always have to be the police. Sometimes it can be, the wildlife rangers. Sometimes they're going to deal better with it, or animal control even sometimes can be the correct call there. So that is Also something you want to know beforehand, you want to know the area you're going. The police sometimes may just laugh at you. So that's why you want to know the correct people to call beforehand. That way you don't call and go, I'm being attacked, and they just kind of go, yeah, right, okay, a Bigfoot. So if, and only if, escape is not an option, if you can't just run away, self-defense techniques. Hopefully these are things that you never, ever, 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 ever have to use, but that is why you learn about cryptids beforehand. You want to make sure you know what their weaknesses are. You just want to, it's so hard to keep calm in the moment. Panic is such a strong, ingrained response in all of us, and that's why you want to know how you're going to react. If you run away, that's actually probably a great thing. That might save your life if you can run faster than whatever cryptid you were looking for. But you just want to keep calm. You can use sticks, rocks, your flashlight if you have to. You want to make yourself big. Pepper spray is great. Cryptids do not fight fair. You do not have to fight fair either. You can aim for sensitive areas. What are they going to do? Hold it against you? It's a cryptid. You just can't write a review online of like, wow, punched me in the eye is not cool. But again, the calmer you can be, the better your decision making will be, and the more likely you are to have a good outcome. So hopefully you are now out of this encounter. As soon as you are safe, you want to start writing down exactly what you saw. And I recommend doing this before you review any documentation you got. That way you can kind of compare the two, make sure they're the same. Again, stress, fear is very, very powerful. It can affect your memories. You can have memory distortion from it. Sometimes people can even experience time dilation or tachycyclia. It can kind of slow or speed time up. You see that a lot with UFO encounters where people will have missing time or it will slow down or speed up. You want to write this all down immediately so you know exactly what you saw. It doesn't get warped, as you kind of like relive what you went through. You can, if it is safe, return to the sighting for more evidence. I'll go through some examples after this, but sometimes you can find, tracks and stuff the next day. So it's good to go back there, once it's safe, once it's spread out, and go and look and see what you can find. See if you can corroborate what you saw, usually the night before. Most people go cryptid hunting at night, let's be real. And then you want to report the sighting to local cryptid research groups because they will be able to help you kind of, figure out what you saw. They will have, more facts, more, stuff about what you saw. If you saw something you don't know what it is, they might be able to help you identify it. And then, this is very, very important, you want to share your experience with others to raise awareness and reduce stigma. Again, cryptids have kind of become cool in the last few years, but people still don't really take you seriously if you've had a cryptid sighting. They're like, I don't know that I believe that. Or it was probably bears, or it was probably a weather balloon. So the more you share your story, the more people can realize that they are safe to come forward with their stories of the weird things that they have seen. A bunch of you are local. Have any of you seen the Frogman? No one's seen the Frogman? Well, hopefully we'll find someone here this weekend who has, because I want to see it too. I had one experience when I was out with my friend, and they said they saw the Frogman, and when I turned around, there was nothing there. So my friend was either playing a prank on me, in which case I'm mad, or I turned around and missed it, in which case I'm mad. So he's out there, I'll find him. And this is the other important part, is make sure you're taking care of your health. Again, with Braxy, you want to make sure you go to a doctor and make sure that you don't have any radiation sickness. Talk to a mental health counselor. I have not seen him yet, but I know that there was a therapist who's going to be here who deals with people like, who have had, oh, there you are, hi, I was wondering where you were, I've been looking for you. He was talking about how, it's good to talk about what you've seen, so find a therapist who will listen to you and not just tell you that you're losing your mind. That's very important. So, I'm glad you're here, hello. So, that's sort of after the encounter. And I'm going to go through a couple of analysis of a couple of encounters of how people survived. These are from Lucas Jennings, who's a cryptozoologist. I found this on Hangar One Publishing site. It's a survival guide for cryptid encounters. I found this after I put this presentation together, and then I went, he did some really good analysis. I'm going to throw that in there. So, famous Patty Bigfoot sighting, the classic Bigfoot walking like this that everybody's familiar with. It was a female Bigfoot that they saw walking around Bluff Creek, and that highlighted why documentation is crucial. They got that film, people debate whether it's real or not, but they have that, and it's solid proof, and it has become like the Bigfoot photo. They were able to keep calm despite what was happening and just keep getting footage, because this was on old film footage, so they had to focus to get it. And then they followed up, which is why we have the plaster casting of the Bigfoot foot from that sighting, which is really cool. That's why I do recommend going to the site again the next day if it is safe to do so. The Hopkinsville encounter is a great example of why safety in numbers is important. This family was being terrorized by the Hopkinsville goblins, pretty decently close to here. They did alert the authorities, which ended up being a good decision, and they kind of braced themselves because they knew that people weren't going to believe them afterwards. And that's why you do want to make sure that your mind is also ready for these kind of encounters. It can be terrifying. And I know a lot of people who go cryptid hunting are thrill seekers, so make sure that you're prepared. And then the Flatwoods incident, again, this is why you want to also pay attention to your physical reactions. It will not always be things that you see with your eyes, things that you hear. It will sometimes be things that you feel, or in this case, smell. There was sort of this lingering mist and like weird odor that stayed there, and I think that's where like a lot of the radiation may have come from. There was weird lice in the areas like a while before, the Flatwoods monster appeared. And a bunch of children saw it actually in this case. This is why also if your kid says they saw something weird, maybe it's not just their imagination or their imaginary friend. It may actually be something they saw. So make sure you double check that it is not just an imaginary friend. It could actually be, yes, your kid did see a Bigfoot in the woods, and now you gotta go look for a Bigfoot. So, we have a choose your own adventure here. We're gonna do this by show of hands on what option you all would like to do. So, in this instance, we are going looking for the Loveland Frog. It's a humid summer night in Loveland, Ohio. The air buzzes with cicadas as you and your friends gather by the Little Miami River. The moon casts a silvery glow over the water, and something about the night feels off. You've heard the stories, the strange, frog-like creatures spotted along the riverbank. The Loveland Frog. A cryptid said to be anywhere from 3 to 5 feet tall, walking on 2 legs with leathery skin and glowing eyes. Some say it carries a wand, others say it just stares. But no one who's seen it up close has ever stuck around long enough to ask questions. Tonight, you decide it's time to find out the truth. So you've got 2 options here. Option 1 is follow the riverbank deeper into the woods where the sightings have been reported, or option 2 is to set up camp near the bridge and see if anything strange happens. So, show of hands for option 1. Who wants to go to the riverbank deeper? Okay. And then show of hands for option 2. Alright, I think we're going option 1 here. So, we've got section A here. Into the woods. You step carefully along the riverbank, flashlight cutting through the mist. The trees loom overhead, their twisted branches reaching like skeletal fingers. The further you go, the quieter it gets. No insects, no frogs, just silence. Then, a rustle in the weeds. You freeze. A low croak echoes through the night, but it's deep, unnatural. Your heart pounds as something moves just beyond the glow of your flashlight. Option 1, do you want to call out? Maybe it's just an animal. Or option 2, do you want to run back towards the road? Whatever it is, you just do not want to find out. So, let's do show of hands for option 1. I don't even think we need to ask for option 2. You guys are ready. You want to know what this is. Okay. So this is the encounter. You take a deep breath and call out, hello. For a moment, there's only silence. Then the reeds part and a figure steps forward. It stands on 2 legs, its skin slick and green, its eyes glowing like fireflies, the Loveland Frog. In one webbed hand, it clutches something, a twisted wooden stick, pulsing with faint blue light. It raises its arm. So option 1, do you want to hold your ground? Maybe it's not hostile. Or option 2, do you want to turn and run? This is just too much for you. So option 1, option 2. You're like, nope, I'm done. Sorry, they're dragging you along with them. All right, the secret. You swallow your fear and take a step forward. The Loveland Frog tilts its head, studying you. Then it extends the glowing wand towards you, and a chill runs down your spine. The air hums with energy. Then, in a voice barely above a whisper, the creature speaks. Go back. The others are waking. Your blood runs cold. Option 1, do you want to demand to know what that frog means? Or option 2, are you going to listen to the frog and leave? So, option 1, you guys are brave. All right. Option 2, all right, they've saved you. you're listening to the frog and leaving, because if I'm hearing a talking frog, I'm probably going to listen to what he says too. You do not wait to see what happens next. You turn and bolt through the underbrush, branches whipping at your arms. Your friends shout behind you, but you don't stop running until you're back at your car panting. Did you see something real? Or was it just shadows and fear playing tricks? Either way, you will not be going back anytime soon. You guys have successfully survived your cryptid encounter. Congrats! If you had stayed, you would have never left Loveland. I'm sorry. So, I'm glad you guys survived. So we've got time now for questions, if anybody has any questions for us.
Oh, I know you're all a curious bunch. Questions.
It is also early in the morning, so I totally understand. Yes?
Did you believe your friend truly when they said to you, look,
I-
I saw the
yes.
Frogman?
I did, and it's only over time that I've been like, maybe you were messing with me, but they have never wavered. They were always like, I saw it and it took off into the woods. I was just so mad because I literally turned around and it was like, gone. I will say, one of the scariest times I ever went out looking, I was down by Little Miami, and it was the middle of winter. There wasn't a lot to do, so we were looking in the middle of winter, and I saw this rustling, and I was like, oh my gosh, is this it? Am I gonna see it? And it was a coyote came out, and I kind of stopped, and I was like, that's not good either. Let's maybe not. So also be careful of other wildlife you might find. They might be hungry. Anybody else have any questions? Yes.
Do you primarily focus on cryptids, or do you do other paranormal stuff too?
We do all above, aliens, UFOs, cryptids, honestly anything weird. We've had sandwiches of history on because the history of sandwiches is kind of weird, so anything you can deem strange, we'll talk about it. It's fun. He is actually doing a presentation here in town soon. I'm excited about that because sandwiches are actually kind of fun. And I got to ask him, I was like, if the aliens landed, what kind of sandwich would you give them to be like, hey, we are not hostile. Be friends with us. Yes?
What's the most interesting story someone has told you?
Most interesting story. This is going to sound like such a cop-out answer because it was just recently. But our guest next week is this guy, Copperhead. He is one of the ghost tour guides at Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum. And I stayed on the phone for 2 hours after we got done recording, just talking to him about everything he's seen there. And there's this one ghost there. I actually don't even think it's in the recording, so I'm not just promoting this show, I promise. But he was telling me there's this one ghost there. He always keeps a cigarette in his pocket for this ghost, and he leaves it in this one windowsill for it, and it'll be gone the next day. And I don't think an animal would eat that, but this ghost has done favors for him. So he'll be going through the tour, and one time he was he put the cigarette down, he went, "Can you mess with this group?" And they were up there, and the lights started flickering, and they all freaked out and ran. And I'm like, that's amazing that you have this ghost that is in on this with you. You have a co-conspirator here from the other side, and that's amazing to me. My second favorite that's just silly is somebody called us once about a roast that they had that was haunted that just disappeared with no trace. And it was only 2 of them in the house, and they were together. And there was no animals. And I was like, I don't have an explanation for how that happened, but I love the idea that you have a roast ghost. So.
What was the sandwich?
Oh, the sandwich? He couldn't decide because you know how aliens wouldn't necessarily have the same taste palette as we do? It kind of makes it tricky. And I went, that's a very fair point. So I think he went with something that was non-offensive. But who knows? They might just straight mustard on a sandwich. Who knows? Any other questions? Yes.
I have a cryptid scenario for you.
A cryptid scenario. Okay. All right.
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
You're in Scandinavia.
Okay, I'm in Scandinavia.
You're alone. You're naked.
Why would I be alone and or naked?
You're alone and naked?
Rule 1 of this is do not go alone.
You're alone and you're naked and the Yule Cat shows up. What do?
You show it the socks that you got for Christmas.
You didn't get any.
I didn't get any socks?
You're naked. You have no clothes.
Well, then I'm going to get eaten by the Yule Cat. The Yule Cat will eat you if you did not get any clothes for Christmas. So I guess I'm getting eaten by the Yule Cat. I'm going to hopefully find a ball of yarn to distract it and run. Is my goal.
You're just going to give up.
I'm not going to give up. I'm going to try to distract it so I can get out of there with a ball of yarn. I'm hoping, if I'm in Scandinavia...
If you have a ball of yarn, you can knit yourself some socks.
But it wouldn't be gifted to me then.
It's less of a scenario, more just a death sentence, really.
Is there another person around that I can hand the sweater to then hand back to me to survive this situation?
The Yule Cat.
Okay. Let's try this this out. Let's go find the Yule Cat. We'll knit a sweater. We'll give it to the Yule Cat, and maybe then it'll let us live.
All right,
Maybe
I'll book
that's
the
all
flight.
the Yule Cat wanted all along was a sweater of its own. It is very large. It is like 3 stories tall, so it's going to take a while to knit a sweater.
I think you'd have to more just knit it like a little like net.
That might be a group project. That might be a group project for a while. Anybody else have any other questions? Anybody have any cryptids they want to go looking for or are going looking for soon? Is anybody going to go look for the frog after this? I genuinely highly recommend it. Like, as far as cryptids, he's not very aggressive, so I'm hoping to find him. I'll find him one day. What?
If any of you guys have any like survival in the woods questions, I mean, it's a pretty scary place.
Most of me preparing for, like, finding cryptids has mostly been preparing for hiking and camping, honestly. So, if you do not like hiking and camping, you will probably not like looking for cryptids, up and to the point, like, maybe someday we'll get, like, a nice cryptid that likes to, like, be indoors in an air-conditioned environment.
Me.
That would be my favorite cryptid if that existed.
That's me.
It's you?
It's here.
Yes.
This guy was in Hockey Hills and said he had experience, he just fled.
Yeah.
He
That-
fled the scene.
Yeah.
Where I would have stayed and fought.
But you know that about yourself going in now.
But I don't know, if like you put the intention out there, okay, I'm gonna fight you.
Mm-hmm.
I think that has power.
Yeah.
Where
It
instead of
definitely
saying,
can.
okay, I'm defeated, I'm leaving like my sweetheart did, I'm gonna fight. So what would you say, like, as far as like intention and thinking, what kind of tools can you bring for that as far as wanting to fight somebody?
Well, to be
Like,
fair, the Hopkinsville goblins are like 3 feet tall. I think a solid hook might.
Well, this was in
save-
Hocking Hills.
Oh, Hocking.
Yeah, Hocking Hills. You're like ready to punch a goblin.
Yeah.
Well, so that's part of why you kind of want to know what you're dealing with going in. You won't always. So it's kind of just by that point, you kind of just have to make a judgment call of, can I fight this thing, or do I need to run away for my own safety? And that is definitely a personal question for each person. And that's why I'm kind of like, you want to think about that going in. Like, you want to know, if you are a person, your first response is like, all right, fisticuffs, let's go. You might need to be like, okay, if I'm going for Goatman, that's not going to work here. Also, if you're looking for Goatman, do not go on the train tracks.
Yeah.
It will not be the Goatman that gets you, it will be the train. There are a lot of unfortunate stories. There's not a statue there dedicated to all the people who've died on the train tracks. Do not go on the train tracks, it's a bad idea. So that's why you want to know going in, kind of your own response. Sometimes running is the right call. Sometimes it will chase you if you run, and that's why you want to look for a safe place too. So you two might balance each other out with their well, where you can be like, whisper real quick and be like, should we fight or should we run?
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, it is fair to. Alex and I have talked a lot about the Goatman. And,
Yes.
Some
From Louisville, so.
Yeah, the Pope Lake Monster for the Goatman is.
Yes.
I think there is 98 people that have died.
It's a lot of
Yeah.
people,
Because
unfortunately, and it's not necessarily from the Goatman, it's from the train tracks or getting themselves in precarious situations.
It's a train trestle, so they have to actually like climb up there
Yes.
to find it, and most people think it's abandoned.
It is not abandoned. There are trains that go over that. There's a very unfortunate story. A guy and his girlfriend were on the train tracks, and a train came along, and they dropped down, and they're both holding on. It is not like the Lost Boys. You will not drop and fly. They were holding on. With the rattling of the train, she couldn't hold on. She fell to her death, and he, I believe, got tried for manslaughter.
Yes, and his arms are also.
Not great after that, yeah, because he had a train, running over his hands.
Because he was a bodybuilder, I believe.
Yes.
Effectively.
That's why he was able to hold on for so long.
And now, believe it or not, a train going over your arms.
It's not a good situation. So that's why I'm like, please just do not go on the bridge. If you want to go on a good bridge that used to be train tracks, we have one here, the Love Bike Trail, used to be train tracks, and that now goes over to Little Miami. You can go there when you're looking for the Frogman, but when you're going for the Goatman, please, it is an active train line. Please do not do that. No problem, thank you. Anybody else have any other questions? Yes?
How do you determine your flight from height to
That's kind of why I recommend kind of running through scenarios like this, so you can kind of see where your instinct lies. You all didn't immediately run away. That was an option. You could have just left and seen nothing. You all were curious because you do want to see it. So doing kind of these test situations I think is kind of fun, and you get to learn, okay, if you had chosen the other option, like I said, you would have been stuck in Loveland forever because it was like, he's demanding you leave. That frog does not want you there. So you can kind of tell, okay, maybe you're a little bit more, you want to fight. So kind of test situations are a good way to gauge that. And also just going hiking and camping in general, you learn a lot about yourself when you're out in the woods, honestly. I'm so sorry for everyone who hates being outdoors and wants to find cryptids. Genuinely, I wish there was a good indoors one.
Actually, I was gonna, you don't care if I ask them. Have any of you all had any run-ins with wild animals when you're out and about? Cause like,
Coyotes. Yeah.
yeah, but you,
Not me, my brother. My dad has a hunting property in Kentucky, and like a bear like crossed right in front of my brother.
Yeah.
So
What type of bear was it, do you
I think it
know?
was. I'm not sure. I wasn't there. Maybe a black bear.
Black bears are best case scenario, they're pretty skittish.
Yeah.
That's part of why I have in there, make yourself big, because that also works on black bears, they're pretty skittish.
and cougars.
Quick story for you all. A group of friends and I went down to Gatlinburg to go to the True Crime Museum down there. We were in the hot tub and we were talking about true crime. And my back was to the woods. And my friend's facing this way to the woods. Their face while we're talking suddenly falls. And I'm like, oh my God, I'm gonna turn around and there's gonna be a man with a machete. Because we've been talking about serial killers all weekend. Great. But I turned around and it was just a black bear. And I was like, oh. So they all got up and got out of the hot tub. And I was like, it's fine, he can join me. I don't care at this point. I thought it was gonna be a guy with a machete. At this point, that's fine. I'm happy with this. But they all got out and got up and then started like yelling at it, and then the bear was like, ran away. So black bears will run away.
Yeah.
They're pretty skittish. They just want your trash, and if you don't let them have it, they're like, eh, whatever. So
Yeah,
grizzly bear, do not try that. Any other questions? We good? You got one?
Being from Louisville, you've been down to the Wiggly Hill Sanitarium.
yeah.
Yes.
Any stories or any experiences?
I haven't done an overnight. We wanted to go last year, but it got booked up before we could. But I want to do an overnight there. I kind of want to do like an asylum tour at some point in the next couple of years because I think it'd be really good to compare them.
I do know that if you guys know your metal bands at all, there was a band called Behemoth that did a show out there, and I got to talk to one of those guys later when he came back, and he said that they did a tour after, because they cut down a bunch of forestry behind there to throw on a metal concert because metalheads, and he had told me that after the show they did a tour and they said the spirits were very agitated, and I don't know what he meant by that, but he had like that 1,000-yard stare in his look, so I don't know, but he's also Scandinavian, so they just kind of have.
Well, he's used to the Yule Cat, so. Anything else?
And have you guys ever seen Mothman or talked to him?
Do y'all want to hear my super crackpot Mothman theory? My super crackpot Mothman theory is that Mothman is actually a Black Ops OSHA inspector, and he was like, guys, this bridge is not up to code. And he was trying to be like, guys, come on. I don't know what year OSHA was formed, but I'd like to think that maybe Mothman formed OSHA. So this is my totally not believable crackpot Mothman theory. So the other reason that we do the show like this, where we try to make it, a little bit entertaining, is that makes people more likely to remember stuff, and then it's more helpful when you're in a fight or flight situation. You're like, I remember laughing at that Mothman joke. Okay, here's how I get away from Mothman. Like that's how I do association, at least. So hopefully it's helpful to you all as well.
Yeah, if it's okay. I saw a bear once as well. I was out in the Smoky
A
Mountains.
cryptid bear?
No, like
Okay.
a real bear. Yeah.
I do love that all cryptid sightings are like, it's just bears. It's a lot of bears.
Deer.
I feel like I've told you this. We were having like a family get together out in the Smoky Mountains, and I went outside. I was on like a deck that was like maybe 10, 12 feet off the ground, and I heard a noise, and I just looked down. Now I'm high up, so I'm fine, but I'm effectively about 6 feet away from a brown bear.
And you don't want to be near those ones.
Yeah, and I just remember like this thing just stood up and just looked at me, and I thought like I used to kickbox. I thought I had a decent like fight or flight. I froze, and I was like, oh, this thing could just rip my head off if I was like 6 feet lower. And it's very like you asked over there, how do you really gauge your stuff? I totally assumed like I would at least run, but I mean, it's hard to gauge.
Shock is a real thing.
Yeah, it's like, especially when you get snuck up on by a bear. They're not normally.
You would not think a bear could sneak up on you, but they can, and they will.
Which is another important thing when you're going out in these like open situations. Like, remember, if you're going out, when we say research, that means local wildlife too.
Yes.
And
You want to know if there's going to be scorpions out there. Nobody wants to encounter a scorpion.
Yes. And also, actually, I just saw this recently, signs of when an animal's rabid.
Unfortunately, rabies is becoming a big thing again right now. There have been, I live in Lexington, Kentucky now. I love coming back to my hometown for this, but they've been finding rabid skunks in our area, so.
Yes, something to realize.
Between that and the bird flu, it's just, being around wildlife is not the best thing right now.
So if you guys want to know something about rabid animals, which I didn't know, and I'm glad I do now, the whole like cartoony, snarling, snapping at you, they're mostly zombie-like, and you don't know they're rabid until they're...
They can walk right up to you.
Yeah, they just wander around like zombies until they're right up on you. So be very, research when you go out into the wilderness. There's a reason we escaped from it in the first place.
And why we unfortunately don't have any air conditioning cryptids. Come on, somebody work on that. Any other questions? Anything else anybody wants to know? We're going to set up at our booth after this. We're going to set up our recording if anybody has any stories of any encounters they want to talk about. So you're welcome to join us there. But otherwise, thank you so much for coming out and joining us. Yay! Full details of more energetic now. I feel a little bit more energetic, but everyone's happy. So awesome. So great to see you all. You can come see us at our booth after this.